Distinguish between unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. Describe how attitudes and behaviours influence workplace safety. Apply the ABC model of behaviour modification. Identify and use positive reinforcement techniques. And explain the key components of a behavioural safety programme. Every day, workers are injured because of unsafe acts, which are behaviours that ignore or bypass safety procedures. Despite having rules and systems in place, it's people's behaviour that often leads to accidents. This short course will help you understand why these behaviours happen and how they can be changed through a clear focus on behavioural safety. Let's start with the basics. Unsafe conditions refer to physical hazards like a wet floor or faulty machinery. Unsafe acts, on the other hand, are about human behaviour, for example, not wearing PPE or taking shortcuts. While fixing conditions is essential, studies show most accidents happen because of unsafe acts. Why do people act unsafely? Often it comes down to attitudes, beliefs like, "it won't happen to me," or "this will only take a second." These attitudes shape behaviours, and when these behaviours are repeated without consequences, they become habits. Workplace pressure is another big factor. If someone feels rushed, stressed, or under pressure to meet deadlines, they might skip steps or take shortcuts, even when they know it's not the safest option. There's also the influence of peer behaviour. If someone sees co-workers regularly ignoring safety rules without consequences, they may assume it's acceptable. This normalises unsafe behaviour and erodes the safety culture over time. Now that we understand how attitudes influence behaviour, let's talk about how behaviour can be changed. This is where the concept of behaviour modification comes in. Behaviour modification is based on a simple but powerful idea. Behaviour is learned and it can be shaped, encouraged or discouraged depending on what happens before and after it. In behavioural safety, we use a tool called the ABC model to understand this process. ABC stands for antecedent, what happens before a behaviour occurs. Behaviour, the action or decision a person makes. Consequence, what happens after the behaviour. Let's look at each one more closely. The antecedent is the trigger. It could be a safety sign, a toolbox talk, a checklist, or even a peer expectation. It sets the stage for behaviour, but doesn't guarantee it will happen. The behaviour is what someone actually does. For example, choosing to wear PPE properly or deciding to skip a step in a safety procedure. And the consequence is the outcome that follows the behaviour. This could be positive, like receiving praise or avoiding harm, or negative, like an injury or being corrected by a supervisor. Sometimes there's no immediate consequence at all, which can be just as influential. Here's an example. A worker sees a sign that says, "wear gloves in this area." That's the antecedent. The worker puts on gloves. That's the behaviour. A colleague says, "good to see you wearing PPE." That's the consequence. That positive reinforcement makes it more likely that the worker will wear gloves again in the future. On the other hand, if someone cuts a corner and nothing bad happens, no injury, no feedback, the consequence is nothing. And that lack of response can unintentionally encourage the unsafe behaviour to continue. This is why understanding the ABC model is so important. It helps us see that behaviour doesn't just happen randomly, it's influenced by what comes before and after. And that gives us a real opportunity to change it. By shaping the environment, reinforcing positive actions and responding to unsafe behaviours in the right way, we can build a safer, more accountable workplace culture, one decision at a time. People respond better to encouragement than criticism, which is where positive reinforcement comes in. Positive reinforcement means recognising safe behaviour and doing it consistently. It's one of the most powerful tools for shaping safety culture. Examples of positive reinforcement are a simple thank you, safety awards or recognition, and mentioning good practice in team briefings. A behavioural safety programme is a structured approach to improving workplace safety by observing behaviours, providing feedback and reinforcing safe actions to reduce the occurrence of unsafe acts. It has three essential parts. 1. Observation, watching how people behave on the job. 2. Feedback, giving constructive, positive responses to what is observed. 3. Measurement, tracking behaviours and progress over time. Together, these steps build a culture where safe behaviours are the norm, not the exception. Observing how people work is a key part of any behavioural safety programme. It helps identify patterns, encourage safe habits and provide timely, constructive feedback. Behavioural safety observations are not about spying, they're about understanding. A well-conducted observation helps identify risks, encourage safe habits and provide support. Some best practice tips for behavioural safety observations are: focus on behaviours, not people. Be objective and respectful. Record both safe and unsafe acts. Give feedback immediately. Let's recap. Unsafe acts cause most workplace accidents, but because behaviour can be changed, we can do something about it. A behavioural safety programme helps identify and reinforce the behaviours that keep people safe. And you play a key role, not just in your actions, but in how you support your team.